Wrestling Collective! The Wrestling Collective!
Hello, Wrestling Maniacs. This is the Wrestling Collective. We are back from the dead. We have risen, and we are back here on YouTube. We took a break, but we are now back. And of course, I am not alone. Even though I like hearing myself talk, I even like talking to someone just a little bit better. Please welcome my co-host. He is Joseph Carrasco.
I would do water, but I don't want to get it all over my computer.
Yeah, water and electronics do not mix. Also, before we go any further, if you don't know who I am, I'm Matthew Thomas, the co-host of the Wrestling Collective, the guy decked out in pink, if you want. But Joseph, it is nice to be back.
Hey man, it is good to be back. It's been a while, and I've missed talking to you, man. I know you've been busy in your personal life, and work's been killing me. But I did take a vacation, first time ever in any job I've ever had, so that was sweet.
Nice. Well, I mean, we got so much to talk about, and I just want to say, I know we took a break, but we've obviously still been watching wrestling, still keeping up on everything. We got a lot to talk about, plus some new things as well. Joseph, I think you have some new things to show off to the audience.
Yeah, so I have, before I show this off to you, I had been looking for a place to buy wrestling figures. Since I've been getting back into wrestling, it's another collection that I can add to the list that I can annoy my wife with. And so the way I collect is I never really buy full collections of things. Like I'm a fan of Pokemon and Marvel and all this other stuff, but I buy what I like. I don't buy to complete a set. I buy what I like, and same thing goes for wrestling. A lot of mom and pop shops around my area have a very limited selection, and since I'm very picky about what I buy, I was able to find a store. I'm not going to share it yet, but I am going to go check them out soon. It is a store that is wrestling dedicated, so I will let you guys know. But it made me happy because I want to start building that collection, and I want to share it here on the Wrestling Collective. So I talked to Matt before the show and talked about maybe showcasing these figures for you guys to check out. Today I have two. I know Matt has a few as well. I just wanted to kind of show them off, and it kind of gives you an insight also of what wrestlers I really, really like. So the first one is going to be one that I had been looking for a while. I had been checking out Target. Like I said, been checking out the mom and pop shops, and they always had this particular wrestler, but they didn't have the look that I like of this particular wrestler. And that is Dominic Mysterio. Let me see if I can get it on camera here. So the reason why I like this figure is because he has the mustache and the long hair. This is when I really started to love Dom. When I feel like Dom really kind of got into his character. And so I'm really happy to have this figure and add it to my collection. Funny enough, I found it it's one thing I didn't tell you, Matt, before we started, but I have a DVD exchange next to my house, and they are actually taking a shift in product. So they are kind of sadly pulling away from selling movies, and half of their store now is figures, posters, Funko Pops, that type of stuff. And that figure just happened to be there, and I got it for a really good price. That Dom was under $20, by the way. So I was like, I'll take it. And then my second figure is a wrestler that I think, I don't even want to say underrated. I feel like he's getting the fandom that I think he's finally getting recognized.
Appropriately rated.
Yeah, he's one that I'm very excited to see where he's going to be in the next few years, and I'm glad that I was able to find this figure. Now, the box is a little bit damaged, but I think that's okay because I am eventually going to probably let this guy out to breathe a little bit. But there are two things that I really love about this, and one is it's a wrestler I really like, but it also has a belt. I don't have any belts yet, so to have a belt with a figure is pretty cool, and that is I got a Dragunov figure. There we go, Ilya Dragunov. And what I like about this one is it has the NXT belt and it has his little robe. So I'm also learning about ultimates and elites and all that stuff. This one is a part of the elite collection. I don't think I have any ultimates. I'll have to look back at some of the other figures that I purchased. I think most of the figures that I have are elites. But again, something I'm not super worried about as far as I know it's better to like face capture better or more articulation on the ultimates. But at the end of the day, I buy what I like, and I'm very happy with those. I was able to get him also. I think he was like a $25 figure. So let me know if I overpaid on him or not. But he was at my local HEB. So
Well, very nice, and obviously something we share in common. Obviously, collecting action figures. Which I also say though, having collections and stuff, it makes it easier to buy someone for like Christmas and birthday and stuff. Because like, oh, they collect the, it's something. It makes it easier for like, hey, what do you want? Oh, I want this. This kind of stuff. Or like, I need like socks and shirts and stuff.
that's
One or
pretty
the
much
other.
what I asked for. Yeah, I always need underwear and socks.
Exactly. But also, so I have recently started a new venture. I have my Matt to the Max channel, which we'll be talking about so many different things. It won't be just like one specific topic. I'll be talking baseball, monster trucks, and some also unboxing some action figures I've had for a while and I didn't exactly know what to do with, but I think it would be cool to unbox some action figures. So I have three that I have, designated so far that I will be unboxing, and I was actually going to run some polls to do some stuff to see what people want to see first. But if you want to see that, it'll be all on the Matt to the Max channel. But first, I have like the AEW, TNA. I collect a lot of different action figures. Of course, I have WWE and all of that. But for these, I have my Orange Cassidy. This is actually, I believe, the first one they released in AEW.
Oh,
This
nice.
is back in Series 3. I've had this one for a very long time. So yeah, this is Series 3. So this is way back when they kind of first launched the brand, the action figure line. That's when I picked this one up.
The AEW. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I'm like I said, I'm slowly getting into that stuff. I'm more of a WWE guy, but I will say I have always loved AEW's packaging. Like
Oh yeah.
it's very eye catching.
Oh yeah. Like, sorry, the light's bright over here. There we go. You can kind of see, yeah, this like the gold and the box and all of that. It looks great. Like, I haven't watched too much AEW lately, just because their whole thing's kind of been But yeah, their action figure line and stuff is like really good.
Yeah, and to the guys who or the companies that make wrestling toys, I just want to put it out there too. Please don't do what Marvel's doing with the boxing where they completely enclose the figure where we can't see it. I like being able to see the window of the figure. That's one of the reasons why I also want to go back to collecting wrestling figures over Marvel, because a lot of the new Marvel stuff it's just being covered, and I'm not a fan of that. But anyway.
Oh no, for sure. And this one actually, the next one I have is actually, it was a Walmart exclusive, and this was Sting, a Walmart exclusive Sting.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Oh yeah, I wanted to open this for a while. I just wasn't sure like how, and also the back looks cool. That's what he looked like at the show. I believe they take this from, I think when he teamed with Darby Allin, it was like Revolution or Full Gear. I don't remember exactly. Sorry if anyone's gonna be in the comments correcting me. It was when he teamed, like when he started that tag team. He did like the half and half face paint. I don't know if this camera can pick it up. He's got his half Sting face paint, half Darby Allin face paint. It looks really cool, and again, this was a Walmart exclusive that I picked up, which looks sick. So that'll be the next another one that I'll be unboxing that I'm really looking forward to. And then this last one that I got picked up very recently, and that's kind of gave me the idea to do this unboxing. And that's, if anyone remembers back in TNA, like the more early days of their knockout division, this is Velvet Sky, who I'm a very, I was a fan of the Beautiful People. Angelina loved Velvet Sky back then, and they just got inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame this year. So I think it'd be really cool. Another great action figure that from a different line. This is from a Jack Specific, which is different from the AEW ones I have. So I think it would be really cool. So if you want to go full detail and all of that, Matt to the Max, we'll be talking way more about all these.
Nice. I'm interested in seeing that. I haven't heard of Jack Specific in a long time. So it'd be cool if you also kind of compare Jack Specific figures to kind of modern day figures as well, to kind of see quality control wise how they are.
Yeah, well, I can tell you because I have some other of the Impact ones, the TNA ones, and well, I'll get into my whole thoughts on my channel, but I do think if you're talking like wrestling action figures, I do think Mattel makes the best.
Nice. And we'll leave a link down in the description for that channel. So if you guys are interested in checking out Matt's new channel, you'll be able to click that link and go subscribe and check out some of the. I know I'm going to go look at some of those unboxings. I'm a sucker for unboxing videos, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you got.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna put my own spin on it, kind of do my thing with it. Try to make it a little bit different, where it's not just I open it and I talk about it. Like, I want to kind of give a little bit more of it. I'm going to make it fun. That's what that channel is really going to be. I mean, we're talking about some deeper, more serious topics, but there's also going to be plenty of fun on there as well. All right, but now as we're the action figures aside, now let's get into some real wrestling. This is a topic I really want to talk about, so if you don't mind, I'm going to take the lead on. That is John Cena's last match. And man, I will say, for me, like, watching it, I actually thought it was fine. I thought, I don't think it was like the best retirement match I've ever seen. But the way people have been talking about, at the arena, online and all this, that it was like the worst thing in wrestling. It was all of this. I think that's a bit of maybe overstated a little bit. I don't think it's the worst thing to happen in wrestling. I think it could have been like Kurt Angle's retirement where he had a 6-minute, WrestleMania match with Baron Corbin. I think they did it overall fairly well. Of course, they're going to have one of their current guys who was a former champ like beat him. I wish it was somebody else, but for the match, like if we're just looking at the match in a bubble, I thought it was fine. I don't get where all the hate was coming from for all these people that were booing, they were swearing, they were chanting AEW at the arena, and I just don't know. I feel there's a disconnect for me from like watching it to seeing people's reaction of just how just upset and angry they were. I just don't see it being justified myself. I've definitely seen worse things in wrestling. I would have liked, again, a different opponent to face John Cena, maybe someone from his past. I really wanted to see John Cena versus Carlito. That would have been, I think, a really great retirement match because they had a rivalry going back, I believe, 2006, where John Cena really kind of turned into this basic thugonomics kind of guy. And I think that would have been cool to come kind of full circle with that, and someone who could still wrestle from his past, Mm-hmm. So I think that would have been really cool. But again, I don't think Gunther, him versus Cena, I don't think it was that bad. So I'm curious your take on it.
Okay, so this is coming from somebody who is not a huge John Cena fan. I kind of was not into the whole year retirement tour.
Boo this man!
I'm an attitude guy. I didn't really watch. I didn't watch wrestling during Cena's run. Now I do remember his first match. I do remember him wrestling Kurt Angle and answering, the Kurt Angle challenge. Yeah, so I do remember that match. But as far as like I know of Cena, it's very hard not to know who Cena is and know about his different characters throughout the years and his little transitions here and there. But overall, I feel like it was a fun match. I think, they both brought a lot. And if anything, at Cena's age and this being his last match, it was good, and I'm going to put it this way. I'm not a fan of CM Punk either, but I think when CM Punk wrestles, his age shows a lot more than John Cena's. With that said, I'm split on the way it ended. I would have preferred to see him get the 1, 2, 3 with his, or Gunther getting the 1, 2, 3 over submitting John Cena. And there's a few things behind it. So one is Cena, and I'm sure people have heard this already by other content creators, but Cena had the whole mantra of never give up. And I feel like this is a wrestler that is known to be children's hero. Like he does a lot of stuff with children that have cancer and that are,
the Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, the Make-A-Wish stuff. Like he's the top guy. So for me, being a dad, having kids myself and always trying to preach that to my kids too, to never give up. As a father, looking at somebody who also preached that, who had millions of kids that looked up to him, that hurt a little bit. And it was a sour taste in my mouth. But I get it. Like the whole look and the smile, him tapping, the way he did it, it was symbolic. And he was saying, without looking too deep into it, it wasn't saying that he was giving up, but the character itself is done. This was his moment. He's done. So I get it from John Cena's perspective, but I also understand from the other perspective of the never give up and all that stuff. So yes, because of that, I would have preferred to see him get pinned. That way he could say he never did give up. And, he went out on his back looking up at the lights. My other issue is, again, the whole submission thing. I know that's Gunther's thing right now, but it's been a little, I don't know. It's been a little soured because of Jay. I hate to bring up Jay Uso, but how quickly he submitted Gunther, not being a submission specialist, just that match taking place the way that did kind of soured it for me as far as Gunther being like a top guy against a legend. And then also it's just kind of it's something we've already seen. Randy Orton was known as the legend killer, and I feel like they are trying to get Gunther as the new like retirement guy. There's been talks of him possibly retiring Brock Lesnar. They're already showing little snippets of him and AJ. This last Raw, him and Ron Killings got into it, and so he's fighting all these legends and older guys, which to me is funny because he's not a young guy himself. Gunther's up there in age. So that's kind of one of those things where I think that's where a lot of people's frustrations coming in with that push. Cool, but he's not a young dude. There's plenty of other dudes on the roster that are much younger that I feel that could have did that push. I will say though, I'm happy that we got a John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio match. I personally thought that's who should have retired John Cena. Some people may not agree with me, but I feel like if you have one of the top baby faces in the company and been a baby face for so long, mind you, the heel turn I didn't agree with. I think he should have stayed a baby face his entire career. I think WWE dropped the ball on that. But having the top babyface and then having one of the hottest heels right now that doesn't even have to try like Gunther does, I think. I think that would have been a way better match. But overall, I think it was above expectations. Again, I'm not a huge Cena fan. I'm not really a huge Gunther fan, but I appreciate Gunther in the sense that I feel, and let me know if you agree with me, but I feel Gunther is today's modern William Regal. I think he carries himself a lot like Regal did. He's very fundamental like Regal was, and he loves the business. And I think he's one of the few that tries to keep kayfabe alive. But yeah, I think he's today's modern Regal.
Interesting. You do make a strong case for it with how he presents himself and he carries himself, and his in-ring like fundamentals are very strong. I don't know if I don't know. I just feel like Regal made it look easy when he wrestled. And by the way, I'm a huge Regal fan, so I might be slightly biased. But just the way he did it in the ring and like his stamina and how he worked matches, he just made it look easy. And I think I can agree up to some point until like Gunther looks like he actually has to really try. You know what I mean? Like when he's really wrestling, it looks very kind of deliberate in a way that like it looks like he has to think about it a little bit. With Regal, it just looks so natural that he would flow from like one move to the next, or even just like one style. He can go from brawling to a technical submission very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think, and maybe Gunther, maybe he will get there, but I think his just flow of his matches, it seems kind of clunky at times.
I can agree with that, but I think it's funny you bring that up because this is a conversation I was having last night while we were watching Raw. I was talking to my mom and my wife about it. And I think that is not just a Gunther thing. I think that's the new generation of wrestlers. It seems that the old school guys like Regal, like Mysterio, there's not a lot of predetermined, choreographed move sets within a match. That's become a huge thing in modern wrestling, and you can see it. And there are wrestlers that are better at covering it up than others. But like last night is a prime example. I pointed it out. My mom even caught it. My mom's in her 70s, dude, and she caught it. And mind you, she watched the Attitude Era with me back in the day. But there was a triple threat between Stephanie, Raquel, and who was the third one? Nikki. Oh, Nikki looks so good, dude. Oh my god. She's aging like a fine wine, bro. I think she's going to be in WWE for a good while because she got into phenomenal shape in this past couple of months. But anyway, I digress. There was a moment where Bella gets knocked down and Stephanie and Raquel are having this moment. Well, Stephanie runs against the ropes. Raquel goes for a clothesline, gets knocked on her butt, and she's a little off center in the ring, and she scoots towards the center to get into position for Stephanie to do the devil's kiss, or at least set up the devil's kiss. My mom noticed it. She's like, "Why is she scooting on her butt?" I was like, because these matches nowadays are choreographed, and as much as the women's roster is stacked, and I love the women's roster right now, they are very, very bad at that. Not only with botching, but also there's a lot of times when you watch females wrestle where you can tell what's coming. Now, again, a lot of that could be the camera has a lot to do with that. I think if they would have switched the camera angle, we would have never noticed. But because they were on that wide shot, we saw it. So I think half of the blame goes to that, but the other half goes to this predetermined choreograph matching that they're doing. Do I think that could be Gunther's fault as far as why he may seem like that in the ring? Maybe, but also, like I said, I think some wrestlers are able to cover it up better than others. So it also could be who he's wrestling. I think if he was wrestling somebody like Rey Mysterio, somebody who doesn't remotely talk during matches, he just like, trust me while we're out there type, I think it would go a lot smoother. But I mean, I don't know. That's just a thought that maybe why it's different, but I do agree with you. But as far as, I guess, what my point with what it was is he just reminds me a lot of Regal in the way that he kind of carries himself. But yeah, I think if we had to choose between the two, I would pick Regal's matches over his any day.
Oh, and yeah, no knock on Gunther, but like, I mean, again, if you're just like comparing in the generation and excluding previous generations, then yes, I can see you making that kind of comparison. I don't know. I'm a purist when it comes to stuff. I kind of go direct comparison, and you really can't nowadays. But
Yeah.
one thing, and I don't know if you've noticed with like anytime there's like a multi-person match, there's one thing that they've been doing better at it in more like a year or two. One thing that always gets me though, and I'll see what you think, is that like they do these multi-person matches, but like they only have every just few like multi-person spot, and then they'll just go back to like a one-on-one match, and then there'll be like another spot, and then there'll be like another person, so it's another one-on-one match, and the other person's on the outside of the ring. And it just gets me a little bit like when you have these multi-person matches, I want to see everyone kind of involved instead of doing like two separate one-on-one matches and occasionally the third person gets involved. I don't know. It's been better. They've been trying to do less of that and trying to incorporate all three people. But like for a while, it was basically just like a one-on-one match, and occasionally the third person would come in just to get like thrown out of the ring or get hit with a big move, so they roll out of the ring, and then it's back to one-on-one. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I saw that for a while, and then kind of more recently, I've kind of started to shift that to give it more variety.
Yeah, it's yeah, quick spots. I think they're just trying to get quick reactions and then move forward. Yeah, there's a lot. I think we should do an episode here in the future of kind of talking about that. Maybe some changes that we want to see going into 2026, because I think there's a massive list that me and you can go through and go into a little
I
bit
think
more
we should
detail with
definitely do that. We definitely stay tuned for that. But now, something that you wanted to talk about, so I will hand the floor or the digital stage to you now.
So, with wrestling being the way it is and a lot of new rising stars, I think we are in this shift with I can't speak on other organizations, but with WWE, where we have a lot of new talent. And I think there's so much talent on the roster that they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. This may be another reason why SmackDown going into 2026 is going back to 3 hours. At least I hope so. I hope it's not more commercials.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lintless?
But more of let's push these new rising stars. So I've been wanting to do this list for a while. And funny enough, it just happens that Raw was last night, and Paul Heyman had a little speech with the Vision where he talks about everybody in that ring. Pay attention to where they're going to be in the next 5 years. And so I wanted to do a list. I originally wanted to do a top 3 men's. Then you threw the females into the pot there. I said, you know what? I could come up with a list of females as well, because the female roster is stacked right now. The only challenge is making a top 3 of newbies, because right now you have a cluster of mid-level talent, older talent, and new talent all coming together in the women's division. And I think the women's division is top tier right now. I would dare to say I think it's better than the men's stable right now. I really enjoy watching the females, whether it be singles, tag, whatever it may be. What they're doing with the tag championships right now is very exciting, and I want to see that in the males. But I think it's a work in progress. But I'm okay because we got the females right now. But with that being said, we are going to do our top 3 and top 3 males and top 3 females that are up and coming stars and who we think in the next 5 years will be main event superstars. So we're gonna go with the males. I'll actually just do my top 3 males first, so that way we can cut it a little bit short. We're not going too long. And then, but before I do that, I do want to mention some honorable mentions. They did not make it in my list, but they are two main guys who are on my radar and I enjoy watching. One of them I can't wait till he comes back, and that is Jacob Fatu and Dominic Mysterio. They didn't make it in my top 3, but I think they are 2 guys that are definitely making waves. Not only do they put on great matches, but some people may not agree with me, but I think Jacob Fatu is fun as shit on the mic.
Got it, I mean!
And then Dominic just gets better and better every fucking time he is on camera. His mic skills have gotten a hell of better. His in-ring abilities gotten better. And the fact that he's just a scrawny dude and he does the flex thing without flexing, like he's an aura. He's just, yeah. But there are 3 other guys that I think I'm really looking out for. And my third pick is going to be someone new who moved up recently, and that is Javon Evans. Again, much like Dominic Mysterio, he's a lanky dude, but he is a true high flyer. He is one that, as we were saying earlier, you don't know what's coming. Nothing looks predetermined with him other than maybe somebody waiting to catch him. But that's all stuff that we already know, that safety comes first. But the dude takes crazy risks, and he's very fun to watch. Lately, they've given him a little bit more time to actually talk and express his character a little bit more. And I'm loving it. I'm glad that he is now on Raw, and he's got a match set up for next week. So I'm excited to see that. But he's one up there that I'm really excited to see, and he's very, very talented. My number 2 is Ilya Dragunov. I think him bringing back that challenge every single week was phenomenal. He really got to show what he can do. So he was out with injury, and he came back and looks like a complete fucking unit. The dude is just massive. He's so good in the ring. Even though his nuts have come out a few times in his attire, the dude he's so massive. He's just got big balls. Like literally, the dude is a unit. And I love the promos that he was doing while he was champion. I'm not too excited that he gave up he lost his belt to Carmelo Hayes. But at the same time, I'm okay with it. I hope that with Carmelo Hayes, side note, I hope they do something with his character, because I've told my family, I enjoy watching him. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he's very talented. I don't like his character though. It's very Logan Paulish, and this whole like I'm the greatest character is overplayed, overused, and I'd like to see Carmelo Hayes really kind of dive into something unique. But yeah, Dragunov is my number 2. And then my number 1, I don't think this will come as a surprise, as I've talked about this dude in previous videos. He is my top guy right now. I fangirl over this guy. I loved him when he was babyface. I love him now as a heel, and I actually enjoy him more as a heel, and that is Braun Breaker. I think Braun Breaker is fantastic, and I am looking forward to him destroying CM Punk on the 5th.
Well, all very good picks with everything, and I honestly agree with you a lot, especially with Ilya. I think he kind of, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but like I think with doing his challenge, I don't know, it's kind of brought some class, to like the championship and NXT and all of that. He kind of really carries himself so well, especially now that he's returned. I don't know, he seems more confident too, like compared to like, he was still like, he was good before he got hurt, but now like he just looks way more confident now.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up he brought power back to that belt. I think that's something that's lacked. And again, we can cover this in the other episode as far as like changes that WWE can make. But this is a change that I think needs to happen across all belts. Back in the day, I know you remember pay-per-views were when the belts went up for grabs. We had title matches. What the fuck happened? Like the belts have
props now.
Yeah, there's no, and then I hear talks of Roman Reigns like he's bigger than the championship belt now, and this and that, blah blah blah, and I don't agree with that. I don't think any wrestler should be above the belt. I think and because of that, I think that we've lost a lot of what those belts represent, and what Dragunov did with that belt in that short time really brought, as you said, class. It brought class. It brought an element of necessity. and made the belt made the man, not the man making the belt. And so, yeah, I hope Carmelo Hayes can carry that torch and keep it and keep what Dragunov brought to what that was. And I hope we see that more in some of these other belts. And I think that's why I'm fatigued with wrestlers like Cody Rhodes, like Roman Reigns, like CM Punk. There's just the belt means nothing. It's all about that superstar. And I think that's why I'm kind of one of those guys where I'm like, eh.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. So now with my list, I mean, it should be no surprise I put Braun Breaker as number one. For basically all the reasons that you said. I mean, look, he's a Steiner, so he looks intense. He looks like what he does actually hurts. But also, I mean, I don't like him as much as a heel because I think with that move set, you're just, I don't know, you're kind of more of a natural babyface. If you look like you can just show up and murder people, I like you. You know, I feel like it works better as a babyface where like the crowd just wants to see someone get their ass kicked. You know, like kind of with a Goldberg kind of esque.
So you don't like the bully side of him where he's like mocking people and.
Oh, no, I think he's definitely got the Steiner in him where he's calling people, you know, fat, and Paul Heyman goes, "Hey, that's not a guy, that's a woman," and all of that. I mean, I think it works well. I don't know. I like him more as like a standalone babyface where he just shows up and kicks people's ass, you know, that kind of thing. But I mean, I still like him. I think he's got, you know, big upside in the company. I mean, he's going to be champ. Hopefully this ages well. But I assume he's going to be champ, you know, world heavyweight champ at some point. So, you know, basically, I figured he was going to be on your list. He was also on my list. The other two, I'm curious what your thoughts on. So the other one is I saw him recently, and he's got a great kind of physique, and he's just a big powerhouse, which I also really like. And that's Oba Femi.
I knew you were going to say him. I knew he was going to be on your list.
Yeah. So he's I saw him recently for John Cena's last match, and I like what he's got going on. I do think he looked a little stiff in the ring, but I think I don't know how long he's been wrestling. I think he's from the WWE developmental system, so I don't think he's been wrestling for a terribly long time. I could be wrong. But he did look a little stiff, but I think, again, big bright side of just showing up and beating people up is kind of my thing, and I really like that. So I think he's got a big potential upside. We will see going in the upcoming years, but I can definitely see him fighting for the main roster heavyweight belt. Now, the third one, I don't know if he's already kind of broken stardom, you know, kind of already up there. But he's a new WWE arrival. He creates a lot of buzz every time no matter what he does, even if he doesn't do anything. And that's Joe Hendry. Like, come on. He's had, you know, like, come on. I mean, I'm curious your take, but I really liked, even though it was super short, but his match with Orton at Mania, I thought was amazing. Just the way, like, that was like a true, like, WrestleMania moment where it happened. It looked so organic and natural. The crowd was into it. Like, he could just do nothing and the crowd is into it. You know, he just has that kind of charisma aura that he's going to go very far in WWE.
So it's funny because you picked, outside of Braun, you picked two guys who I feel like are opposite sides of the spectrum. I like Oba because he's a complete unit. The dude has that big man aura. If he is used properly, I think he can do amazing things. I just hope they don't drop the ball like they did with Drew McIntyre. You know, Drew McIntyre.
Well,
yeah, like he has the look. This whole, like, I always make my family laugh. I'm always like Wakanda forever every time I see him. But he has this vibe to him, and he's got the size. And really, him coming to, again, I'm a WWE guy, so this was my first time really seeing what he was capable of, and I think I'm just hoping they don't drop the ball like they did with Drew, because Drew's one that I want to like Drew, and I've said that before. I want to like Drew, and I hope that they don't do that with Oba, where it's like, we want to fucking like him. What are you doing with him? Like. So I agree with you on that. He's definitely a good talent that's coming up. Hendry is on the other complete side, and I actually like Hendry for his gimmick. I think his gimmick is very refreshing. It brings me back to when WWF kind of had a goofy side, and that's what I like about Joe. Is it kind of
It's
is.
corny, but it works.
Yeah, it wrestling doesn't always have to be dark and serious and brutal. There can be those characters, and he's not so over the top that it's corny in a good way. It's not like cringe corny.
Yeah, no, I think in like the doses they've been giving, like I could see if it was like if it's some of the stuff. I could see if it went on for too long, that it would probably overstay its welcome. Of like if the segments were like
the 20-minute intro of Jey Uso Yeet that got
Yep.
overused. It got boring.
Exactly. So I mean, that's still the risk they run. I mean, they've been giving him more to do with stuff, and so I'm a little concerned because I do think the thing is a little one dimensional, but he does it so well that you don't notice. So that's my only concern with that is it's eventually because like when something's super popular, WWE has a habit, and people feel free to fact check me, that they will pound it into the ground to make a point. That they will just keep forcing it on people. And then it just goes, well, we've seen this already.
At that point, though, I think that's when Joe Hendry himself kind of needs to understand the business and understand, like Taker has, he did an interview where they talked about his evolution from the dead man to the badass. That there has to be a point where Joe Hendry says, okay, we've played this as much as we can play it. How can I evolve my character without doing just a simple heel turn? How else can I evolve my character to continue grabbing the audience and get that participation?
Oh yeah, and my problem with like some of the stuff is like they'll have a gimmick that is great, and then they want to change it, and then it's just like a heel turn, and then you take all the stuff that was that person and just take it all away, and the person has like changed their theme song and they wear dark clothing, and that's it. Which they look like every person. You look so generic at that point. So that's what I'm worried if, when that time eventually comes, that's all they're going to do.
Yeah. So if you're watching Joe Hendry, don't become another Hot Topic wrestler. We have enough of those.
Yes.
As much as I love the Hot Topic wrestlers, don't become a Hot Topic wrestler. We got
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like Matt and Jeff perfected that, and after that, it's just been a ripoff of 1997 over and over and over again. So, but that's just my take on it.
I will say one of my favorite themes right now, musically, is Aleister Black's intro. I fucking love that song. That shit is.
Does he have the same one? Because I remember he had a really cool one when he was in NXT before he got released. I have not watched. Again, don't have Netflix. If it's the same one that he used before, it is a really good theme.
The vocals are like.
I think so.
I'll send you after the episode. I'll send you a link up to his intro so you can hear it. But it's one of my favorite tracks right now of a wrestler coming out. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our top 3 female. This one was a little bit harder for me to come up because I did have to come up on it on the fly. But I am curious to see what yours is.
Sure. You want me to go first this time?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I have 3 ones that, because I do, I try to watch wrestling and I try to notice what people are doing. The first one, again, I saw her for the first time with John Cena's last match, and then I've been kind of watching her other wrestling. I think for her, I think she's definitely evolved with it. I think she's gotten smoother in the ring. But that is Sol Ruca. I don't know how to say her last name.
Sol Ruca, yeah.
Yep. I think she's got a cool finisher. I mean, it looks a little staged because the person kind of has to dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, oh yeah, I think it's really cool. And I don't know, for some reason, I see a lot of people like trying to compare her to Lita. I don't really know why. It just seems a little off to me. I wouldn't make that comparison myself, but I think she's definitely gotten smoother in the ring with everything. So I've definitely been enjoying watching her stuff, discovering her. So I think that's been really cool. But now for number 2, this is actually a wrestler. I've been watching her, again, when I was watching wrestling more last year and the year before, I think. She's been around for a little bit in NXT, and now she's in like AAA and kind of doing some stuff there as well. That is Lola Vice. Big fan. I think she's been really, really cool, and I think she's starting to kind of come into the title picture more. I think was it Kalina Jordan? I think she got attacked on NXT recently. Sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing names. For being an announcer and like a podcast host, I'm terrible at people's names. But anyway, so I want to see more Lola Vice in NXT because I know she was in AAA for a while, teaming with like some of the wrestlers down there, which was really cool and great exposure for WWE because they bought AAA recently, so trying to send WWE talent there. But I really like what she's been doing, and I want her to be on the main roster. Hopefully soon at some point. I think that would be really cool. And then my last one is actually someone who is a champion now, but I heard it was not supposed to be on purpose. That was Thea Hale, that she won the Women's North American Championship by accident. But I like her because she teamed with Joe Hendry, and it just really worked. They kind of really played off each other really well. I've been a fan of hers recently.
Nice. Now, my list is going to be way different than yours, but I will say Sol Ruka.
I figured.
Sol Ruka was originally in my list, and I ended up replacing her. And this may piss some people off, but Sol Ruka.
So grab your pitchforks and let us know in the comments.
So I'm glad you did pick her because she was on my list. She did get bumped. So I'll start with that. My third one is Lash Legend. Now, the reason why I picked her was because she's in a tag right now with Nia Jax. And I've never really been a big Nia Jax fan, but I think this tag team works. There's just there's an aura about these two together.
They got a dynamic.
Yeah. And to me, Legend is what Nia Jax should have been. Like she carries her weight well. She's very tall. She's a big female. Her moves look like they hurt in a sense of they don't look like they are physically hurting the opponent to the point where, like how Nia Jax was physically hurting people. Hers
Becky Lynch's face.
Yeah. So Legend looks like she knows how to be a powerhouse, a legit powerhouse. And so I personally enjoy watching her wrestle. I think she has a lot of room to grow since she is newer talent, and I'm very excited to see where it goes outside of her and Nia Jax being a team. I think putting her and Nia Jax is, I think, beneficial for both of them, but I think she's also going to be a force to be reckoned with when she goes into singles. And I think she has a potential to do that, like break away from tag team and be a legit single superstar. My number 2 is probably not going to be surprising to anybody. Again, I am a WWE guy, so it's Stephanie Vakir. I really enjoy watching her.
I figured she'd be on the list.
I enjoy watching her for multiple reasons. My wife already knows she is my Chilean girlfriend. She just doesn't know about it yet. I really do enjoy watching her in ring. I think she's a very entertaining wrestler. Her promos do need work. I think that also is just a language barrier thing, but I feel like that's one of the biggest negatives about her is that her mic ability isn't the greatest, but her in-ring ability makes up for that. With that being said, I do not agree with the decision to put the belt on her so soon. I feel like it was rushed, and I feel like we could have got way more story and way more excitement to a build up to that belt than just automatically putting it on her. Even though I'm a fan of Stephanie, I really don't think she should have got the belt that soon. And then, do you have anything before I give my number 1 on Stephanie?
Yeah, I think she is an accomplished wrestler. She was like wrestling like Mexico. She was in AEW for a cup of coffee. But yes, I do agree. I felt like they were just trying to capitalize on popularity instead of like push a storyline or story.
I think I agree with that because I feel like where are the defenses? She rarely defends the belt. And again, this goes back into the belts themselves. But like I said, we don't have time for that today. But just keep that in mind, guys. We do want to cover that because I do have a very lengthy rant about the belts. And I think Stephanie is prime example of that because we don't see her defending the belt. She got the belt way too soon. And to me, that cheapens the validity of said belt.
Yeah, and before you move, I just want to add, I don't think it's not anything on her either. It's just WWE right now.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that with other people as well, and that really kind of hurts because people either look at the wrestler as the problem or like, oh, she's not a good champion. And it's like, no, there's bigger problems. I think for what she's been doing, I mean, I liked her and Nikki, when they were doing stuff, but it just seems like it's just like an overall systemic problem in WWE.
Yep. I completely agree. And
all
then,
right,
yeah,
well, sum that up, but be on the lookout for more. All right, number 3.
So my number 1 will actually be somebody that I maybe you will know that I was gonna put this on there, but somebody that has really impressed me in 2025. I didn't have a lot of love for her in the beginning, but as I've been watching her wrestle, she did tag with Raquel for a while. Now she's starting to kind of go solo on her own, and I'm really enjoying it. And that's Roxanne Perez. I think she has really, really proven herself in 2025. The matches that she puts on are entertaining. They're fun to watch, and I really want to see some kind of belt around her waist again in 2026. I liked her as a tag champion. I'd like to see maybe even the Intercontinental champion around her belt or around her waist, but I think she's somebody to definitely keep an eye on.
Oh, definitely. I think she's really broken out with being with Judgment Day. I think it's kind of showing off more of her like wrestling skills. I think she's gotten smoother in the ring when it comes to stuff, and I really liked her teaming with Raquel, and she's with Liv Morgan right now, and they're kind of just energies kind of just match. I don't know, the vibe of both of them really just match. So I want to see with obviously with Liv Morgan returning, how that's gonna where they would go with that.
I want to make a prediction, and this is based off of what I saw last night. I'm getting Finn Balor, Damian Priest vibes with the dynamic between Liv and Raquel right now. I definitely see Raquel as Damian Priest, and Liv is giving off a lot of Finn vibes. So if you guys remember how that whole interaction happened since Liv has been back, she's been acting a little sketchy with that. I think a lot of people are expecting her to be upset and mad at Roxanne, but I think her true anger right now lies with the person who she thought was her bestie and the way that her bestie kind of just replaced her at that moment. I think that there's something in the works for Raquel, and yeah, I'm very interested to seeing what that storyline is going to look like. But that's my prediction, that I think Raquel's going to be the next one to be kicked out of Judgment Day.
Interesting. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see with all of that, but a great list with all of it. I think a lot of the people we picked. Please let us know your top 3 men, your top 3 women in the comments. Did you like our list? Did you hate it? Please let us know.
And remember, we're doing come ups, so I don't want to see Io Sky. I don't want to see
Rhea Ripley, Tiffany. If anyone says Cody Rhodes, we're gonna laugh at you, even though he's only been with the company like 2 years.
Yeah, but he's much like Gunther, the guy has been around for a long time, and
I know.
It's so if you're a straight WWE person like I am and you're new to it, those guys are not on the table.
Or LA Knight or any of that.
I hope. Speaking of LA Knight, I wasn't a fan of LA Knight, but I definitely did not
like him.
I've grown fond of him. I'll put it that way. My mom has become a huge fan of LA Knight, and
I wish they would do more with him, honestly.
That's, I think, what made me a fan of him, is the fact that seeing him being abused the way he is and taking as many L's. Again, him, much like Drew McIntyre, man, I keep bringing up Drew, but LA Knight has become, especially in 2025, for me, has become one of those wrestlers like Drew McIntyre, LA Knight. I think these guys should be getting the spotlight over CM Punk, over Roman Reigns, over Cody Rhodes. I think Roman Reigns is always going to be in the conversation, but I think they've missed a lot of opportunities for Rumble. We're going to do predictions here in a minute, but I think last year's Rumble was a huge L. That should have been LA Knight. I think he should have been able to, I don't know, man. Or even like the Money in the Bank. Like LA Knight had so many opportunities, and it just they shat on him. And it's the same shit that I saw with Drew. So I'm hoping in 2026 they get their head out of their ass and we see some more LA Knight, see some more Drew, and a little less of Cody and CM Punk.
And just with that, before we go to the Rumble prediction, it just seems like LA Knight is like just in obscurity now. Like if honestly, there's some wrestlers like Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Finn Balor. Like I have to remember if they're in the company. It takes you a second. Like, oh, is he still at WWE? Oh yeah, he is. Well, where is he? Like that. Seriously though, like that kind of thing where you have to think about it, and that's kind of a shame.
It would be a fever dream, but if we had Seth come back with LA Knight, Drew, and Finn on his side, it would make my entire family happy, because my wife's a Finn fan, my mom's a LA Knight fan, I'm a Drew and Seth fan, so I could finally get my mom to come around and like. My mom's not liking what Seth's doing right now, by the way. She wants to like Seth, so
not mom approved.
He's not mom approved, but he is one of my top guys. So, but anytime he's getting his ass beat by somebody she likes, it's definitely a war in my house.
Oh, that is awesome. All right, so now as we're closing out the show, so obviously we're about a month from the recording. Obviously, it'll be later once we release this. But the Royal Rumble is coming up, first time ever in Saudi Arabia. Royal Rumble, always exciting time. I was at the Indianapolis one last year. I had an amazing time. I actually got to see some of my favorite wrestlers in person, which was really cool. I got to see John Cena's last ever Royal Rumble match for right now, in case, wrestling is never for sure sometimes. But
So do you think he's going to come back at least for one more?
I mean, if Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, I mean,
I want to believe he's done. I really
I
do.
hope he is personally. Like, he went out, they gave him a nice send off, all of that. I hope he is done, unless he does like a cameo to promote a movie, or something like that. But yes, I hope he's done. So, but yeah, I saw John Cena, I saw Trish Stratus, all some of my favorite wrestlers who have grown up. I got to see them in person. So now for this Rumble, obviously it's going to be in Saudi Arabia first time, which is interesting. We've kind of shared some thoughts on Saudi Arabia before with everything. But so going to the Royal Rumble, no one has been announced for the men or women at this time. So we're just taking a complete shot in the dark. We could be completely wrong. They might not even be in the match. But I'm curious, Joseph, for the men's Royal Rumble, who do you think is going to win?
I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise, but I'm basing this off of what's going to happen on the 5th. If Braun Breaker does not defeat CM Punk, I see him taking the Royal Rumble route and winning it and coming back again. If he does win, then I'm going to pick kind of left field. Hopefully he's back he's out on injury right now. But my next pick would be, again, depending on January 5th, Jacob Fatu.
Interesting.
My hope, anyway.
I'm going way off the board. You thought
Joe
you were coming. What's that?
I said Joe Hendry.
No, actually, I'm going even further off field with someone. I think I don't know if people realize this, but he has said that 2026 is going to be his last year of wrestling. I think it'd be AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles versus Punk or Cody, I think would be cool. He's such an accomplished wrestler, and the only thing he really hasn't done that I think not only would add to it, but also I think he could do really well and have a great WrestleMania match. He hasn't won the Royal Rumble, and he's been in the company for over 10 years at this point, and he debuted at the Rumble. So I think it would be there. I doubt they're going to go with it. It seems like a story that writes itself, and they're not going to do it. So I would love to see AJ Styles win, though.
And I believe I didn't watch the last match of Raw last night, but the main event was a tag. I believe him and Dragon Lee lost the belts last night. So there's a potential of that actually making sense. Now he no longer has a tag belt.
He can go singles, yeah.
Yeah, he's available for singles again. So that is actually a solid pick. I would agree with that.
I want it to happen.
And again, story-wise, it would make sense. And then, have him. The only downside that I see to that is at some point you're going to have him face Gunther. They're already building that up. I don't want Gunther having the belt again. At least not right now.
I mean, they could do what they did with like Cena. I mean, it would just be a rerun of Cena where he would like win the championship, lose it a few months later, and then like has his last match. But I feel like that'd be too much copy and paste of John Cena that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't repeat that kind of thing. Or if he just loses, he doesn't have to win at WrestleMania. He can still like lose. I think I would prefer. I think him and Cody would have a great match if that were to happen. But I think they're probably building. I've heard a rumor they're building for like Roman versus Cody again, and I just don't know how I feel about that. Shocker, I don't feel good about it.
We'll get The Rock to show up again, only to disappear. And
so before we go on to more tangents and stuff, we should just have a tangent episode where we just like talk about everything that bugs us about like WWE right now.
We're gonna need a few episodes for that.
Why is this 8 hours? But I have one for the women's that I'm curious for you, because we kind of just talked about her. So I'm curious what you would think about this. But with her coming back recently, I think, and since she's been a champion before, I am predicting Liv winning the Royal Rumble for the women's.
I could see that. Honestly, because of the lack of faith that I have in WWE, that to me would be okay. She needs to be back and again, she's in the vignettes. She needs to be back in that spotlight. I don't think her injury was supposed to happen. I could definitely see that, but the way they're building up the Roxanne Liv tag thing, I don't see it happening. Sadly, although there's a lot of female wrestlers that I would pick, like I like Io Sky. She's one of my favorites. Again, they're pushing Io and Rhea kind of as a tag right now, but I honestly can see Rhea Ripley going into the Royal Rumble and winning it, which would, I think, put a damper on that tag. I love seeing them together, but obviously, like it's
It's
not going to last.
temporary.
Yeah, that's not going to last forever. And what better way to kind of have that betrayal? Io's had betrayal already with the Kabuki Warriors. To only have the other person that she put her faith in to betray her for gold. That's my prediction, but I would definitely like to see Liv on top again.
I think Liv needs to be in the title hunt at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, because she is for like she's obviously on like smaller but like average size for like the women's wrestlers. But like her work with Rhea Ripley, I thought at like SummerSlam and all that, I thought it was really great because they told a story in a way that like, oh, everyone was expecting Rhea to like show up and destroy her, and that's not what happened. I thought it was done very well because like everyone just thought that Rhea was going to win. It was going to be a really quick match, and I liked that they spaced it out enough that they added length to the story where it wasn't just so one dimensional.
Now, my two, if I was going to actually pick, there are two females that I think deserve winning Rumble. So my prediction is going to be Rhea for the what we spoke about. But the two that I think that deserve it would be one. I think Tiffany Stratton should be in the conversation. She had such
Definitely.
a phenomenal 2025, and I'm very bummed at the way she lost. And the thing is I knew it was coming because the commentators were foreshadowing that shit the entire night before she wrestled. They were talking about how she went undefeated and how many wins she had in 2025. Like it was all there. You just had to be paying attention. And I told my wife she's going to lose tonight. And I was very bummed at that. But I think she needs to be in the conversation. And I think the other woman that needs to be in the conversation is I feel the female Drew McIntyre right now, the female LA Knight right now, the one that's taking a ton of fucking L's and shouldn't be because I feel like she is a yes man for the company, and that's Bayley. I think Bayley should be in that conversation, and if Bayley or Tiffany win Royal Rumble, I will be 100% satisfied. If Liv wins, I'll be like, okay, that makes sense. If Rhea wins, I'll be like, here we go again. As much as I love Rhea, but here we go again.
Well, now an also interesting thought I've had as well is so obviously WrestleMania returning to Las Vegas for 2026. Now I've heard from last year's WrestleMania that they obviously tailored it to more of the casual crowd with like everything, that it wasn't like obviously what ticket prices too. So I'd be interesting with that kind of thing in mind from last year. Are they just going to go for like people who like the casual crowd would recognize? Like obviously, if that's the case, AJ Styles is not winning the men's rumble. So I'd be curious if they're just going to go with like the safe bet of people know Rhea Ripley or people know Liv Morgan or people know and people of that, the wrestlers of that kind of like the casual people know even if they don't really watch wrestling.
And if you go that route, we're going to say casually to you casual fans out there, you're getting your Roman Reigns and Rhea Ripley. That's basically what that prediction would be. For you out there that aren't casual, I feel like you guys, as much as some of y'all may disagree with our opinions, I think Liv Morgan, Bayley, or Tiffany definitely should be in that conversation. AJ Styles for sure. My Jacob Fatu is that's a fever dream, but I think he could carry that title very well. I think he would bring back a little bit of oomph to it, and also seeing him and Solo go at it, because that's going to piss off Solo if Fatu gets that. I think there's more story there you can develop. Honestly, if that didn't work out, you mentioned Oba earlier. I think Oba versus a Fatu would be great too. Even if that was
Big
over.
hoss fight.
Yeah, if that was over a different belt, I think that'd be great. But I like your pick. I like the AJ Styles. I think that's the more realistic kind of that should be how it goes type of pick. But
I don't feel confident in it.
but
I'm
we
just
said it
saying.
here.
Well, no, I hope. I mean, I hope to God it happens. But I just, I think WrestleMania being in Vegas is going to play a huge part in who we're going to see win the Rumble. I'm just going off what would I want to see as a fan, and I just those are the two, at least to me. I think it would be something cool, something different. Add another accolade to both, and you can still build stories around them. And what I like about both of them is I kind of so live, especially with AJ. If you watch some of his Japanese wrestling matches, he can work with anybody. He can make them look great, and he is just his flow in the ring with everything he does. He makes it look too easy.
Yeah, well, I think I want to stay positive for 2026. I think Rumble is going to definitely be that temperature gauge. It's going to let us know what kind of year we're going to have.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so. It's really vital that WWE makes the right decision because I think they're making a lot of dumb moves, not only in content, but in the way that they're milking the fuck out of fans, and I think people are starting to get tired. Not only just exhausted mentally watching these events, but also financially. So I think there needs to be a huge shift in 2026, and I think Rumble is going to be kind of that catalyst of, all right, what direction are we going here? Because you're gonna end up losing a lot of if you're playing into the casuals. Casuals, the problem with that is they're gonna be there for a little while, and then when the next big thing pops up, they're gonna jump ship, and then you're gonna be crawling back to the people who have been loyal to you for forever, and they're not gonna. Wrestling fans don't take kindly to that shit. So
Oh, I know, and we're definitely really going to see. With I mean, it's a very good point that Royal Rumble is really going to set the tone for the rest of this year and stuff. And honestly, some of the people we've talked about, and I kind of forgot about Tiffany Stratton, unfortunately, which I think she's such an accomplished wrestler, and everything they did for like the first half or for the of 2025 that she won the belt, team with Trish Stratus, they did all this stuff, and then then they have like nothing for her by the end of the year, and I thought that was so sad.
yeah, she lost, and then not only did she lose the belt, but she lost TV time. Where the fuck has she been? We
Yeah,
haven't
and
seen her
like
since.
all momentum, because there's a lot of people that were rooting for her to win at WrestleMania. It's me too. I'm so happy. I'm wearing pink, but yeah, and I was so happy for her because I definitely think she deserves it, and I think she has really improved in the ring and on the mic, and especially dealing with like the whole like Charlotte Flair thing of a lot going on with that allegedly happened, which again did it not, don't know. But with all of that, like to still have a good match, and I mean, it looked like they were in a fight, especially Tiffany. To go from that, and then just to have that's always what gets me. And again, I know it's a business, and you have to go with what's popular, or whatever. So or like what they want to move on to next, and then they kind of forget about like I will say like Finn Balor's a great case of that where he got hurt winning a belt and like has never been in the title picture, seriously in the title picture
And it
for
was something
a
that was out of
few,
his control, you know.
yeah, and like never has touched that, and it's been that was like 2016 when that happened. We're almost 10 months or 10 years, sorry, and he has not like again he's been tag champ, he's been with the Judgment Day, which is all fine and great, but he deserves a singles run, I think.
Oh, definitely. Finn is somebody that yeah, the dude is talented, and it just bums me out. Again, you see it with Bailey, you see it with LA Knight, you see it with Drew, Finn, and now we're starting to see that with Tiff, and it's kind of soul crushing. Of like, I like these characters. As you said, you invested so much time into making me like these characters, and then they fall off at the face of the earth. It's like I feel like they could do something with LA Knight, with him being injured and out, have a slow burn, build up that anticipation. But if you're going to do that, make it matter because he's one of those guys that is over with fans without that push. So you got to do it right. And then like with Tiffany, it's one of those situations where it's just like I think she just kind of there's so much female talent. It's one of those things like I mean she's one of the few wrestlers that I watched that scared me when she wrestled. Some of the moonsaults that she would take, I told Diamond, like, this girl's gonna end up paralyzed one day because she takes these risks. And the sad part is sometimes these other women aren't there to catch her like they're supposed to. And it's very scary, but that tells me that she's got a lot of love for the business. She's willing to put her body on the line to entertain us. And so I'm hoping in 2026 we see Tiffany again. I mean, she was in the vignettes, so I don't think she's completely forgot about. She is in those WrestleMania vignettes, so it's still to be determined on what's going to happen with Tiffany. But I'm in Tiffany's corner. I'm rooting for her, and I'm hoping 2026 treats her well.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. And like all of them, it kind of, reminds me, circling back from when we talk about action figures, it's kind of like, I was going through some of my collection just a few days ago, and I go, oh crap, I didn't know I had this Kurt Angle figure. It's kind of like that. I feel like that's like in real life where you go, oh yeah, why is this person not on TV?
I forgot she was on the roster.
Yeah, like you randomly think of people like that, and and like Tiffany and LA Knight and people like that, where you just go like, damn, like they could do so much, which is funny. And again, we will be wrapping this up here soon. I don't want to go too deep into this, but like at some point, and I see this a lot, like with music when I talk about it on the podcast and stuff. It seems like for certain things, companies, they want to make money, but then they make decisions that don't make them money. And it's like the complete opposite. If you're so money focused that you have to have 18,000 sponsors on this table and in the ring and, on a fireball ladder and all this, but you won't invest in like stuff that will actually make you money. It boggles my mind.
It's because they listen to the casuals and not the actual true fans. I mean, that's how you get wrestlers. Like one of my favorite wrestlers that I feel is super underrated is Shelton Benjamin. That's how you get wrestlers like that. Dudes who are talented. They have a following, but the higher ups are. Well, I don't see it. I don't see it. They're not money makers. It's like you have your casual fans who are going to just like an image or a song or some catchy gimmick that a wrestler has. And there's levels to a wrestler. Yes, you can have in-ring ability, but if your mic skills suck and your character sucks, no one cares. Carmelo Hayes, for me, that's that character. Dude's super talented. Don't like his fucking character. I don't like his intro music. I don't like I don't like that. But I
don't like any of his presentation, but his wrestling.
Yeah, his wrestling's great. You know what I mean? Logan Paul is kind of the same way. I know a lot of people hate on Logan Paul. I don't like Logan Paul. I feel like he doesn't fit in the vision, but he does fit in the vision because he's not supposed to be liked. But there's just and we've talked about this in previous podcasts. There's a difference of being hated when you're trying too hard to be hated versus naturally being able to do that. And again, that's why I like Dominic over Logan Paul. But I think if Logan Paul switched his character, he might be likable.
I think with that, I think people kind of confuse or maybe like don't interpret it correctly. There's a difference between booing somebody because I want to boo them and booing someone or like not liking someone because I just don't want to see them on TV. There's a big difference. And I think like, oh, I'm getting booed, I must be doing something right. Well, no, they just don't want to see you. There's a big difference. Like, with like when Baron Corbin was in like the title scene going back a while, I didn't like him and I just didn't want to see him in the ring at all. Like I didn't want to see him retire Kurt Angle. Not because he was a bad guy, just because I just didn't like him. Big difference.
But yeah, man, we have a lot more that we want to cover going into 2026. So stay tuned. If you liked what you saw today, then please remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share it with your other wrestling fans, and leave us down in the comments what you'd like to see us discuss. There's a lot of things wrestling that we can cover. And one of the things I love about this dynamic between me and Matt is that I am, again, a WWE guy. I'm slowly getting into NXT. But Matt is also one of those guys that watches across promotions. So not only will you enjoy the conversation that he brings to the table, but I myself are going to enjoy it because I'll be able to learn. I'll be able to kind of find new wrestlers to study and get into. With that being said, I'm also, me and Matt were talking before the show. There is that store I was talking about. They have indies that show up there and perform. So I'm going to be trying to get out there and watch some more indie wrestling, get into that scene and get more ground roots with that type of stuff so I could bring more to the table when it comes to the show. So we have a lot of hopes and ambitions for this channel. So like I said, give us a subscribe. 2026 should be a fun year, and we got a lot coming. We did have a kind of platform kind of set up how we were going to do the episodes. Going into 2026, we're kind of going with more of a laid back feel. We're just going to talk about things that we want to talk about. And then again, if we can build this community and there's things that you want us to talk about, then let us know, and we're just going to build the shows around that. I think it's a lot more genuine when we are able to give our opinions that way, when it's not so structured. And so let us know. With that being said, Matthew, as always, it's been a pleasure to sit down and talk wrestling with you. It's been fun. I'm looking forward to the next one. But before we go, let everybody know where they can find you, what else you're doing outside of talking wrestling. And yeah, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. It is awesome to have the Wrestling Collective. We are back, and it's great to talk all things wrestling. Now, if you did enjoy the sound of my voice, which I know I do, you can check me out on a few different places. That's Super Cool Radio, which is talking all things music. We're going to have some more great content over there, not just interviews. I actually am working on some other music-related projects. So if you're a huge fan of music like me, then definitely check out Super Cool Radio. And if you're not a huge fan of music, but you're a huge fan of me, like me, then check out Matt to the Max. We got some great content coming up. As you saw, I got my wrestling action figure unboxings. Plus, we were talking about, everything I got going on, not music related, with baseball, monster trucks, AI, anything I feel like talking about, it's going to be on that channel. So make sure to check it out. Plus, maybe some fun skits, and you never know who might stop by the channel as well. But Matt to the Max, Super Cool Radio on YouTube. If you can give me a sub, it's free and it helps out so much.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Matt to the Max because it's one of those things that me and Matt have known each other for going on damn near 3-4 years now, and
I think it's been maybe more.
Yeah, I think we started talking. Well, it was around the pandemic is when we kind of started getting to know each other. So we've been friends for a while, and we have great conversations outside of this, and that's one of the reasons why we've teamed up to do this, because we talk wrestling regardless. But to be able to see Matt and see what else you do outside of music and wrestling, I'm very interested in seeing that part of you, man. You're one of the few people in my life that is a genuine dude. And I'm glad to have you in my circle. I'm glad to call you a friend and a brother. So I'm very excited to see that. So go sub to his new channel and check out those videos as he releases them. As for me, well, I have a metal show called Brutal Block. So if you haven't heard of that and you're a metal fan and want to check out some metal music, head on over to Rumble and just type in Brutal Block, spelled BROOTALBLOCK. And check us out. I'll have a link down in the description. I do episodes with 13 new bands that you probably haven't heard of, but probably should have. And hopefully you like them enough to add to your own personal playlist. I also have some other stuff that I'll be putting down in the description of some links of some other things that I do. I haven't really done much with them lately, but I'll link them anyway. And once I start being a little more active on those channels, I'll probably push them a little bit more. But the main thing that you can find me on is Brutal Block. So if you're a metalhead, if you're a fan of wrestling, especially old wrestling, you should be a metalhead at this point. Even though hip hop is kind of taken over, which we can do a whole episode on my disdain for that. But yeah, check me out at Brutal Block. And again, as always, thank you for tuning in. We had a blast, and I'm hoping to bring some really cool stuff coming in 2026. I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm excited for 2026, not only in wrestling, but just there's a lot going on in my personal life, and it's all positive, and I am looking forward to what is coming.
As am I. Also, you forgot you had a great opportunity to say, instead of in your circle, to be in your proverbial corner. Just want to point that out.
Damn it. Fucking tag you in. See, that's my tag partner. I got to tag him in.
That's why I'm a communication major. But yes, 2026, I mean, I don't want to make too many predictions about what is happening, but I will just say I'm excited. Definitely some unique opportunities, some new content, and just overall having fun. So thank you all for watching the Wrestling Collective. A bunch of links will be in the description. Make sure to check everything out. And if you have anything you want to tell us, leave it in the comments. Also, if you have any bad shirt design, belt designs, anything, let us know in the comments, because we might have some future content with that in the works. But thank you for watching the Wrestling Collective. For Joseph Carrasco, I am Matthew Thomas. And remember, stay frosty.